You know that feeling where you're just so close. Yeah. Your English is, well, it's really advanced, C1 level. You understand complex stuff. Your vocabulary is strong, grammar, usually okay.
Right.
But then when you need to actually speak spontaneously, fluently, there's still that gap.
Yeah. That little hesitation, maybe. Or searching for the exact right word.
Exactly. It feels, I don't know, tantalizingly close, but that effortless flow, it's just elusive.
It's a super commonplace for learners at this level. You've built this amazing toolbox, linguistically speaking.
Yeah.
But using those tools in the heat of the moment, sometimes it feels less like second nature and more like rummaging through a huge box, trying to find the right screwdriver while someone's waiting.
That's a great way to put it. And, well, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Okay.
We're not talking more grammar drills or memorizing endless lists. Nope. This deep dive is all about the deliberate decisions that can actually bridge that gap between C1 proficiency and, well, genuine fluency.
Okay. So making choices.
Precisely. We're digging into ideas from this really interesting article, Beyond the Crossroads, navigating your English fluency journey with deliberate decisions.
Right.
Think of it as like a strategic guide for that final push towards fluency.
And the article offers a really useful framework, doesn't it? It argues that at C1, just, putting in more hours isn't necessarily the answer.
Right.
It's about making smarter, more targeted choices about what you focus on and how you actually practice.
Exactly. And our mission today, for you listening, is really to empower you. We want you to become that sharp, strategic decision maker in your own English learning to help you break through any plateau you might be hitting and really, take the reins.
Take control.
Yeah. Think of it like, remember that architect analogy from the article?
I do, yeah.
You've got all the knowledge, all the materials, it's your C1 level. You understand blueprints, structures.
You know engineering principles, you know aesthetics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But knowing all that isn't quite the same as deciding, okay, this is the design we're building, and now is when we lay the foundation.
All right. That's where the decisions kick in. You've got this huge amount of knowledge, but the spontaneous application, actually, building that fluent conversation in real time, that can still feel like a bit of a hurdle.
Precisely. So, okay, let's unpack why these conscious decisions are so critical, especially when you're already at such a high level.
Okay.
The article mentions this C1 paradox. And honestly, it really hit home. You've got this deep understanding, like we said.
Receptive skills are great.
But sometimes it just doesn't translate smoothly into speaking.
And what's really interesting is that the article suggests that this often isn't about lacking ability. It's not that you can't do it.
Right.
Instead, it often boils down to not having made deliberate choices in a few key areas.
Such as?
Well, like deciding which specific aspect of fluency needs your attention right now. Is it speaking more smoothly? Reducing those ums and oohs?
Maybe pronunciation, intonation.
Exactly. Or perhaps it's about actively using that advanced vocabulary, but don't always pull out in conversation.
Right. Or even just how you allocate your time and resources. Are you, spending your energy on the activities that will give you the biggest bang for your buck at this particular stage?
And knowing when to pivot. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Recognizing when a certain method or resource, just isn't delivering results for you, and making that conscious choice to switch things up, not just sticking with it because you started it.
That's hard to do sometimes.
It is. And also, who you interact with. Are you deliberately seeking out conversations that challenge you? Or are you staying in your comfort zone?
Good point.
Without these kinds of deliberate decisions, the article argues, progress can really slow down. You might feel like you're working hard.
But you're just spinning your wheels.
Exactly. Not getting the traction you want.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because, learning at C1 isn't like those early days where every new word felt like a huge win.
Right. The progress feels different, more subtle, maybe.
Yeah, so you need to be way more targeted. It's like the article says, learning isn't just passively happening to you anymore.
No, it's an active construction process.
And every real improvement, every step closer to fluency comes from a conscious choice you make.
Think about it simply. Deciding to actually use a new phrasal verb you learned. That's a choice.
Right. Not just knowing it exists.
Or deciding to join that conversation in English, even if it feels a bit intimidating. That's an active step. Moving from passive knowledge to active use.
And the article really drives home that these early strategic decisions can have this kind of compounding effect, right?
Absolutely. Smart choices early on, like focusing on specific speaking skills or finding the right practice partners, can accelerate your progress significantly down the line.
But the flip side is true too, isn't it? If your choices aren't that effective.
You can end up on those frustrating plateaus for a long time, feeling stuck, even though you're putting in the effort.
Yeah. And there's that story in the article about Sophia from Italy.
Oh yeah, I remember her story. Very relatable.
Right. Solid C1, understood everything, but just felt hesitant speaking. And she got totally caught up researching options.
Tutors, apps, communities, moving abroad, all the possibilities.
But she couldn't actually decide which path to take.
That's classic analysis paralysis. So many options, it's overwhelming, and you end up choosing none of them.
And she spent, like, almost a year feeling stuck in that almost fluent zone.
Just because she couldn't make a firm decision and commit to it, it really highlights why having a clear process for making these decisions is so vital at this stage.
Okay, so how do we break free from that paralysis? How do we make those effective choices?
Well, the article lays out a really practical 7-step framework. It gives you a structured approach.
7 steps. Okay, sounds manageable. Let's break it down. Step 1.
Step 1 is define the problem or the goal. Clarity is king, as the article puts it.
Right. So not just, I want to be more fluent. That's too fuzzy.
Exactly. You need to get really specific about what fluency means to you right now. The article suggests using SMART goals.
Oh, yes. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
Perfect. So instead of be more fluent, maybe it's I want to participate confidently in team meetings, offering at least 3 substantive comments per meeting within the next 2 months.
Okay, that's concrete. You can measure that.
Exactly. Or I want to tell a complex story about my weekend without relying on filler words more than, say, 5 times per minute by the end of this month.
And it's not just about the positive goal, is it? It's also identifying the roadblocks.
Precisely. What's actually holding you back? Is it speaking anxiety, inconsistent practice, maybe specific vocabulary gaps for certain topics, or, like you mentioned, intonation patterns?
Knowing the what helps you decide the how.
Right. And the article's simple tip, write down that specific goal, make it visible, put it on your desk, on your mirror, wherever.
Keep it front and center. Okay. Step 2, gather relevant information. Research. Don't just jump at the first shiny object.
This is where you explore the landscape. What are the different methods? Immersion, online courses, classrooms, self-study, tutoring, language exchange.
Pros and cons of each.
Exactly. And crucially, understanding your learning style. Are you visual,
Yeah.
auditory? Do you need structure, or do you thrive on self-direction? How do you react to pressure?
Knowing yourself is key to choosing well.
Absolutely. And then researching specific resources, apps, podcasts, communities, authentic materials. Do they actually align with your specific goal and your learning style, not just what's popular?
Don't just follow the crowd.
And a really wise piece of advice in the article, try before you buy, essentially.
Trial lessons,
Yeah.
free versions.
Yeah. If you're considering a paid course or a tutor, see if you can get a taster session. Look for reviews from other advanced learners. Don't commit significant time or money without some initial evidence it's a good fit.
Smart. Okay, step 3, brainstorm alternatives. Open your mind, no judgment yet.
Yeah, cast the net wide. Think about different study schedules, daily micro sessions versus longer weekend blocks, combining resources, maybe an app for vocab plus conversation practice.
Or totally different practice opportunities. Online gaming, local clubs, volunteering, maybe even Toastmasters if public speaking is a goal.
Even considering different environments, can you create more English immersion at home? Is a short trip feasible? The point is to generate lots of possibilities before you start evaluating.
And get it all out there. Maybe use a mind map or just bullet points.
Exactly. Visualize the options.
Okay, step 4, evaluate the alternatives. Now we get analytical. Pros, cons, connecting back to the goal.
Right. Weighing things up. Key criteria the article suggests are cost, time commitment, likely effectiveness for your specific goal, enjoyment factor, which is huge for motivation.
Definitely.
And maybe even risk. What's the downside if it doesn't work out?
And there's that cool wise action tip. Create a simple matrix.
Yeah, I like that one.
List your options down one side, your criteria across the top. Cost, time, effectiveness, enjoyment. Then score each option.
It forces a more objective comparison, helps remove some of the emotion or bias towards one particular option.
Takes the guesswork out of it. Okay, we've analyzed. Step 5, make the decision. Commit.
This is where you choose the best path based on your evaluation, acknowledging, as the article says, that perfect is probably unattainable.
Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Exactly. And recognize when you have enough information. Avoid that analysis paralysis we talked about with Sophia.
Right.
Sometimes the risk of doing nothing actually outweighs the risk of choosing a path that might be slightly suboptimal. Just get moving.
And once you decide,
Commit fully for
Go.
a defined period. Give it a real shot. Try not to constantly second-guess yourself.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Totally. But setting a decision deadline and maybe telling someone your plan can help cement that commitment. Accountability helps.
Okay, decision made. Step 6, implement and act. Execution is everything, the article says.
Spot on. A brilliant decision means nothing if you don't act on it. This is about translating your choice into actual habits.
Scheduling those lessons, blocking out that practice time.
Setting up those accountability systems, reminders, habit trackers, check-ins with a partner. And the tip here, start small, but be consistent.
15 focused minutes beats an hour you never managed to schedule.
Precisely. Consistency compounds over time, especially at this level.
All right. Final step in the framework, step 7, review and adapt. It's not set in stone.
No plan is perfect, and life happens. You need to periodically check in. Is this working? Am I making progress towards my specific goal?
And if not, or if your situation changes.
Be flexible. Adapt. Pivoting isn't failure. The article stresses its smart adaptation. Learning is a cycle. Decide, act, review, adapt, keep iterating.
Like an ongoing experiment.
Exactly. And the suggestion is to schedule regular review sessions, maybe monthly. Ask yourself, is this still the best approach? What needs tweaking?
And the article uses Mei Ling's story from China here, right?
Yeah, she wanted to lead meetings more confidently. She chose a path tutor plus shadowing.
But it wasn't quite enough.
Right. So she reviewed, realized she needed more active practice, and adapted by adding self-talk exercises. And that iteration helped her reach her goal.
It shows the whole cycle in action. Okay, so that's the framework. Now, the article gets into specific types of decisions C1 learners often face. First up, the why decision. Reconnecting with your motivation.
Yeah, this is fundamental. At C1, maybe the initial buzz is worn off. Why are you really doing this? Beyond exams.
Career, travel, connecting with people. Just the joy of mastering something complex.
You need to tap into that deeper reason. Visualize what success looks like for you. Feel that emotional connection.
And the why's action. Write down your why. Be specific, be emotional. Revisit it when you feel motivation dipping.
It's your personal anchor. Keeps you grounded when things get tough.
Okay, next big decision area. What to focus on. You can't fix everything at once. Prioritization is key.
Totally. The article breaks speaking fluency down into common C1 challenges, like addressing hesitation, using fillers naturally, managing pauses, speaking under pressure.
Rhythm and intonation too, right? Sounding more natural.
Definitely. And actively using that advanced vocabulary, collocations, idioms, phrasal verbs, and actual speech, not just recognizing them.
Plus, mastering complex grammar while speaking and adjusting your style formal, informal.
And let's not forget listening. Active listening for nuanced sarcasm, humor, implied meaning, understanding different accents. That's huge at C1, C2.
So the advice is?
Pick just 1 or 2 specific challenges to tackle each month. Don't try to boil the ocean. Assess yourself, get feedback, then choose your focus.
Targeted improvement. Got it.
Yeah.
Now the big one, the how to practice speaking decision. Intentional interaction.
Yeah, not just chatting randomly. Strategically find partners online, offline. And the key insight, structure those interactions.
Also,
prepare topics, consciously practice turn-taking, and crucially, ask for specific feedback on the areas you're working on. How was my intonation on that story, or did I use that idiom correctly?
it makes the practice much more focused. The article also talks about shadowing, right?
Yes, advanced shadowing. Mimicking native speakers, not just pronunciation, but rhythm, stress, intonation. Choose good audio sources, news, talks, maybe even comedy.
Short daily sessions, record yourself, compare.
And critically, understand the meaning and the intent behind the patterns you're shadowing. Why that stress? Why that pause?
For professional context, it mentions Toastmasters.
Yeah, great for structured speaking, thinking on your feet, getting comfortable with an audience.
And self-talk, thinking aloud.
Huge for mental agility. Reduces hesitation because you're practicing formulating thoughts in English internally. Record yourself doing it, listen back.
And that mindset shift again.
Yeah.
View mistakes as data.
Absolutely. Remember Marcus from Brazil? He deliberately focused on turn-taking, interrupting politely, showing active listening, practiced it intentionally. Big impact.
Shows how focusing on one micro skill pays off.
Yeah.
Okay, resource selection decision. Quality over quantity.
Yes. Prioritize authentic materials, things made for native speakers that genuinely interest you.
News sources, podcasts maybe like this one, documentaries, books.
And there's still a place for specialized C1, C2 textbooks or platforms for targeted practice. And weigh up tutors versus language exchange partners. What do you need most right now? Personalized feedback or reciprocal practice?
Remember Young Jin from South Korea?
Yeah.
He deliberately narrowed his focus.
Yeah, instead of being swamped, he picked just a few high-quality podcasts relevant to his job. Smart.
And the wise action. Audit your resources. Ditch the clutter. Focus on high-value ones.
Less can definitely be more if it's the right less.
Makes sense. Time management decision. Consistency is key. We keep hearing that.
Because it is. Schedule it like an appointment. Decide. Block it out. Treat it seriously.
Integrate it too, right? Micro-learning moments. Listening to something while commuting.
Exactly. But also, be realistic. Don't burn out. Consciously decide to take breaks. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Wise action. Use your calendar. Make it non-negotiable.
Turns intention into reality.
Last practical area.
Yeah.
The environment decision. Create an English ecosystem.
Immerse yourself digitally and physically if possible. Change phone settings. Follow English accounts. Choose English media.
Create an English bubble, even at home.
Yeah, surround yourself with input, the wise action. Do an English audit. How much exposure are you getting? Where can you deliberately increase it?
Like Elara from France, switching her phone and social media.
Or Mateo from Argentina, joining that English-speaking gaming community. Finding immersion where you can.
Okay, so those are the practical decision points. Now, the article shifts to the mindset, the psychology of it all. Super important.
Crucial for sticking with it. First hurdle, overcoming that analysis paralysis, the fear of making the wrong choice.
Which we know holds people back.
Right. The article stresses, good enough, decisions are fine, action creates data, you learn by doing, favor action over inaction.
And that slightly quirky, wise action tip.
The coin flip. If you're truly stuck between two good options, flip a coin. Your reaction, relief, or disappointment might reveal your preference. If not, just pick one and go.
Gets you unstuck. Love it. Then embracing flexibility and adaptation.
Knowing when to pivot if something isn't working, it's not failure, it's smart learning. It's an ongoing experiment. Wise action. Schedule those review dates. Be ready to adjust.
Keeps you agile. Building resilience is next. Bouncing back.
Because there will be setbacks. Plateaus happen. Reframe mistakes as learning fuel. Have your motivational toolkit ready.
Remind yourself of your why. Celebrate small wins. Find enjoyable content.
And the wise action during slumps. Maybe reduce study time, but don't stop completely. Reconnect with your core motivation.
Keep the engine idling. Don't switch it off. The power of accountability.
Tell people your goals. Find a study buddy, a mentor. Wise action. Share your goal with someone trusted. Ask them to check in.
Adds that bit of positive pressure.
Exactly. And finally, finding the joy in the process. Intrinsic motivation.
Engage with English in ways you genuinely love: books, films, music, games, connecting with people. Appreciate the journey, the small improvements.
Wise action. Regularly ask yourself, how can I make this more fun? And adjust your choices accordingly.
Because if it feels like a total chore...
You're much less likely to stick with it long term. Find the fun.
Okay, so wrapping it all up. The core message really seems to be that getting to C1 fluency and beyond. It's intrinsically linked to making these conscious, strategic choices.
Absolutely. You, the listener, you already have the tools. You've got the C1 language skills. Now it's about becoming the architect.
Wielding the power of deliberate decision-making.
Act wisely, stay flexible, be resilient, take control of your journey.
Recognize that every informed choice is a step forward.
Towards that uninhibited, confident expression you're aiming for.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. What's the single most impactful decision you could make about your English learning, like today?
What would it be? And maybe more importantly, what's one tiny concrete step you could take right now to start implementing it?
Or maybe think about it this way. Which specific bit of your fluency, if you improved it just slightly through one deliberate choice, would make the biggest difference in your life, personally or professionally?
Embrace that power you have to choose. The ability to express yourself fully, share your unique perspective in English. It's absolutely within your reach.
And we're definitely cheering you on. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.